Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is my clickbait evidence to prove that I'm good at betting. Those are my winnings from last year. I want to thank everyone for the support on the TikTok and YouTube video. My TikTok blew up. It was the best one has ever done. The YouTube video did well as well, so thank you very much. I got tons of picks to talk about. Let's get into my favorite plays today. All right, let's get into it. So the first play is Sabonis under 46.5 PRA. So the Kings play on the road against the Pistons in an 11-point spread. The Pistons are without Cade. This 46.5 line is just way higher than we're used to seeing for Sabonis. He usually sits at about 41.5 through most matchups. He's recently been playing really well, but this is how you buy and sell players in the prop market. In 2 games versus Jalen during last season, he held them in check, went under in both these lines, and he played 34 and 41 minutes in both these games. Sabonis is known for better RA at home. He averages 2.9 RA more at home due to role players playing better in Sacramento. He averages 19.7 points per game and 40.1 PRA per game in 35 minutes each time. I think the line is overinflated. I think there's blowout chances if you want to go that route. And I also think the most important thing of all, De'Aaron Fox is coming off a terrible game, and he has a great matchup here. My next play, we're going back to Scotty Barnes under 14.5 rebounds and assists. This is an example of a write-up you can see in my Discord. Last time we played this was the best play on the board by a ton. I don't think it's the same today. Pirtle is out, so the starting 5 will shake up here. Pirtle being out is the reason we get the 14.5 line. I anticipate it to be a 12.5 line for the rest of the season with this normal lineup. He's also not guarding Steph Curry, which was huge for the rebounding. But he still only saw 5 rebound chances and 5 assist chances last game. In a super small 50-minute sample without Pirtle, but with the new acquisitions, his assists went down, his rebounds didn't change. Now, take it with a grain of salt. I expect rebounding to go up here. On the season, he averages plus 0.7 RA per 36 with Pirtle off the floor. Whether they go Siakam at the 5, Boucher at the 5, they can't handle AD. I do expect some rebounding to increase here, but overall, opportunities are not here for a 14.5 line. I expect him to guard Austin Reeves, maybe some LeBron as well. I like if he guards both those guys. Those are some ball-dominant dudes away from the basket. Once again, the Lakers have a great rim defense with Anthony Davis. That's where Scotty gets tons of his assists. He's not a guy who gets a ton of catch-and-shoot assists. That's what the Lakers give up at a very high rate. The final piece is Pirtle had tons of foul trouble and fouled out in the Sacramento Kings game. Boucher closed the game at the 5 and played huge minutes. And Scotty still only saw 7 total rebound chances in that game. This play has value. I think it should be a point lower. Now, going back to the Kings here, lots of value in this game, in my opinion. De'Aaron Fox over 26.5 points. He's a guy who routinely sits at 29.5, 30-point lines. Even in more brutal matchups like the Magic or the Pelicans, he still was sitting at 29.5 points. Now he gets what I consider a top 3 scoring matchup for point guards. The pace will be quick here. And another thing I like is that the Pistons are at home. I think it keeps the game a bit closer. Fox has absolutely no drop-off in statistics on the road. Another thing I love is guys like Keegan Murray absolutely are terrible on the road. If he plays anywhere near normal minutes, gets in the 30s, the hit rate is crazy good on the 26.5 line. Feels like value to me. Now, another guy that's taking place in this game is Jaden Ivey. We have not seen Jaden Ivey unlocked yet this season. I like Jaden Ivey over 2.5 turnovers. And I also like over 19.5 points and assists. I think a lot of his lines hold value, so shop around, look around. Turnover-wise, this line sat at 3.5 all last season without Cade. He was a turnover machine, averaging 4 per 36 with Cade off the floor. With Cade off the floor this season, he's averaging 3.2 per 36. He also hasn't been playing a ton of point guard. Shares the floor with Killian or Cade oftentimes. He should get some solo point guard run here as well. If Killian starts on the bench, Jaden Ivey lines should skyrocket, go through the roof. This would mean that he'd be the primary ball handler for almost all his time on the floor. He played massive minutes second half. Killian Hayes only got 1 stint before the blowout. So Killian Hayes might not have a ton of minutes in store, and he might not start, who knows. But lines just aren't accounting enough for Cade being out. And like we said, at home, pace of spot with the Kings. Hopefully they can keep it somewhat close here. Really quick before we talk about our next bet, I want to talk about DG Fantasy. Thank you for sponsoring all our videos. DG Fantasy is a site that compares sportsbook odds to DFS apps like Prizepicks and Underdog. It gives you tons of value, gives you color-coded and odds percent chances to hit. So this is a picture I took last night. I use it for my research all the time, and it has to do with our next play as well. Desmond Bane under 12.5 rebounds and assists. Now, it's important to note Ja Morant is out for the season, but also Derrick Rose and Gilliard are both out as well. However, this number is still inflated. Marcus Smart is in. Bane averages 10 RA on the season. He also averages 5.53 assists and 4.38 rebounds with those 3 dudes off the floor. If you insert Marcus Smart on the floor, who should play some pretty big minutes today, his assists drop a whole point per 36 minutes. Matchup is pretty neutral. Dallas has been playing at a way quicker pace this season than last year, but no Ja Morant should slow the pace for the Grizzlies a bit. He played Dallas 3 times this season and gone under in all 3. This was without Ja. Earlier in the season, he was underperforming his assist lines like crazy. His potential assist did not match his lines because we did bet an over 3.5 assist line without Ja Morant, but with Marcus Smart in. A 3.5 isn't the right line here for assists, but I also don't think it's 6.5 with the juice on the over. Feels like both of those should meet in the middle. I think the RA line should sit around 11 flat, and we're getting 12.5. So important to not just game log watch the Dallas thing, but go a little bit further into the stats. Finally, we got Julius Randle. I think it's over 3.5 assists. I think 4 flat on like underdog and Prizepicks would be solid too. Since the trade where Barrett and Quickly are gone and they insert OG Anunoby, he's had 6 potential assists versus Minnesota, a super tough matchup. But then he had 13 versus Chicago, 10 in only 30 minutes versus the 76ers, and 9 versus Washington. First of all, he's averaging 4.7 per game on the season. That alone should make this line not 3.5. But increased playmaking and ball handling with the trade has happened. Minutes are super high for this dude. You could see up to 39, 40-minute type games in a close one. Not anticipating that with spread, but just a thought. And he's due for positive aggression over the last 4 games. Only 3.5 assists per game in those 4 on 9.7 potentials. Take away the Minnesota outlier game, numbers go up. This will be my 3rd time targeting Julius Randle with this prop. Same thing with Quickly, Pirtle, and all those lines. They just haven't adjusted enough for the trade yet. They will soon, but we got to catch the books while they're sleeping still. Shop lines. If books move lines by a point, might be solid, but shop around. Look for best odds. I posted all these in Discord last night. So Discord got the value on these numbers. If they did move, tons of plays. Big slate. Lots of value today. Thank you to everyone for watching. I appreciate all the support and love y'all. Let's make some money.